In the grand halls of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, a quiet betrayal was brewing. For over 2 decades, the steward of the library's most precious treasures, Gregory Priore, was regarded as their devoted guardian. Priore, a local historian with a master's in European history, became head of the library's esteemed rare books room, the Oliver Room, in 1992. By all accounts, he was the perfect candidate, knowledgeable, easygoing, with a resonant voice and a signature mustache. He had practically grown up in the library's neighborhood, the son of a respected doctor, and landing this prestigious archivist role in his hometown was a dream come true. Prior even helped design the room's security. One entrance, strict sign-in policies, lockers for visitors' belongings, and surveillance cameras watching over the priceless volumes. The Oliver Room was a jewel of the library, a fortified sanctuary for 30,000 rare books and documents under Prior's vigilant care. But behind the reassuring image of a dedicated librarian, Gregory Prior harbored a secret. Those very defenses he established only bolstered the trust others placed in him, trust he would exploit. Unbeknownst to his colleagues and the public, Prior was about to embark on one of the most extensive library thefts in American history. Prior's descent into betrayal began inconspicuously in the late 1990s. With a wife and 4 children in private schools and financial pressures mounting, he later admitted that greed came over me. He started small, a map here, a print there, but soon, nothing was off limits. Over nearly 25 years, Prior stole hundreds of items, sometimes walking rare books right out the front door. Other times he used an X-Acto knife to slice out maps, illustrations, and plates, leaving behind gutted shells. First editions, presidential signatures, 15th century incunabula, nothing sacred, nothing safe. In short, Prior was looting the library's crown jewels with astonishing brazenness and patience. For years, nobody suspected the mild-mannered archivist. Prior took advantage of the blind trust placed in him. Conscience was the only lock he could not pick, and eventually, that too gave way. Greed came over me. I did it, but Showman spurred me on. Unlike cautious thieves, Prior didn't even bother to erase the library's marks. He left seals and stamps intact, confident his position and an accomplice would keep detection at bay. And he was right for 25 years. His partner, rare book dealer John Shulman, co-owner of Pittsburgh's Caliban Bookshop, a respected name in antiquarian circles, Shulman was a perfect fence for Prior's thefts. Together, they formed a dangerous partnership. Prior delivered stolen goods. Shulman sold them. To fix the lack of provenance, Shulman stamped the books withdrawn from library, faking legitimacy. In at least one case, they forged documents to sell a Newton first edition. The scheme worked books sold on eBay, in store, and overseas. Prior received over $130,000, and no one at the library suspected a thing. Mr. Shulman accepted responsibility for his association with books under circumstances where he should have known they were stolen. He expressed regret that his actions reflected poorly on the antiquarian book trade. By 2016, the Oliver Room hadn't been audited in years. When a new appraisal was proposed, Prior resisted. Colleagues chalked it up to his usual protectiveness. They were wrong. Once a plump book filled with plates, she recalled, the sides had caved in on themselves. 120 illustrations gone. A landmark atlas gutted. Centuries-old Tommy maps missing. Piranesi etchings just bindings left. The 1644 Blue Atlas, every one of 276 maps removed. The Oliver Room was hemorrhaging history. Staff were devastated. Preservation head Jacqueline Mignogna wept in her office. Within days, Prior was placed on leave. His key to the Oliver Room permanently revoked. The library kept the discovery quiet while working with outside experts. An audit comparing the 1991 inventory to what remained revealed over 300 items missing or mutilated. Total value, $8 million. a betrayal of historic proportions. With Prior sidelined, authorities turned to Schulman. Searches of his home and business uncovered dozens of missing library books, and the incriminating withdrawn stamp. Prior confessed he'd done it. Schulman spurred me on. He described how he smuggled items out folders, charts under his arm, unsearched exits. I loved that room, he said, my whole working life. But the damage was done. The FBI art crime team joined the hunt. Some books were tracked to collectors overseas. Peter Harrington in London returned a stolen Newton Principia. A 1615 Geneva Bible was found at a Dutch museum and returned in 2019. Bit by bit, items came home. Still, much remained lost forever. It's a good day for the city of Pittsburgh, Jones declared. One of those items was this Geneva Bible. The museum in the Netherlands was reimbursed. Other stolen books surfaced across the US and Europe. Some changed hands multiple times before being recovered. In total, $1 $2 million worth was returned, but many items were irreparably damaged or scattered. The true cultural cost? Immeasurable. By late 2018, the evidence was overwhelming. Emails, check records, forged stamps, all damning. Schulman's public denial, even after pleading guilty, drew scorn from the judge. Trial was no longer necessary. To have it back where it belongs at the Carnegie Library, it is priceless. In January 2020, both men pled guilty. Priore, theft and receiving stolen property. Schulman, theft, deception, forgery. Dozens of charges were dropped in exchange for their pleas. In June 2020, emotion filled the courtroom. Librarians and historians submitted letters describing the lasting damage. Prosecutors argued the cultural loss was far greater than the dollar amount. We do not want an apology. Any apology from these thieves would be meaningless. They are only sorry that we discovered what they did. Prior apologized in court, but few were moved. Judge Bickett faced the dilemma: send them to prison during COVID or impose house arrest. He chose leniency. Schulman, 4 years home confinement, 12 years probation, and $55,000 in restitution. Prior, 3 years home confinement, 12 years probation, no prison time. Public reaction was mixed. The punishment, many felt, didn't fit the crime. Without the pandemic, the sentence would have been significantly more impactful. The Carnegie Library lost more than money. Centuries of cultural heritage gutted. The Oliver Room's aura was shattered. Security protocols were overhauled, and Prior's name became synonymous with betrayal. Among rare book dealers, scrutiny of provenance increased. Schulman was expelled from associations. A profession learned a painful lesson. Recovered books arrive in gray boxes or are handed over by ashamed collectors. Each one is a small victory, yet the scars remain. The Oliver Room has reopened, but it will never be the same. This was a betrayal by someone trusted, a man who loved books and still chose to destroy them. Greed turned a steward into a thief, and a sanctuary of knowledge into a crime scene. This story is a warning. Eternal vigilance is the price of preserving our cultural heritage. We do not want an apology. They are only sorry that we discovered what they did. The defendants used their stature to steal and sell works of cultural and historical significance. Scholars can no longer benefit from the items that were destroyed or lost forever. As the years passed and the full scope of the heist came to light, the cultural loss resonated across Pittsburgh and beyond. The Carnegie Library, once a beacon of knowledge and history, had been irreparably scarred. But through the devastating loss, a powerful story of recovery began to unfold, one that reflected the resilience of the library, the community, and the individuals dedicated to preserving its legacy. The staff at the Carnegie Library, devastated by the betrayal, became a key force in the recovery efforts. Led by Director Mary Frances Cooper, the library worked tirelessly to track down the missing artifacts. Though the damage was profound, There was still hope in the form of the community that had always supported the library. Scholars, librarians, and archivists from across the country rallied together to recover what had been stolen. But it wasn't just about retrieving the missing books, it was about restoring trust. The Oliver Room had become a symbol of betrayal, but the library was determined to restore its reputation. New security measures were implemented, including more frequent audits, dual controls for sensitive collections, and tighter oversight of staff. Gone were the days of a single archivist holding the keys to history. Instead, the library embraced a new approach, one that involved more people, more eyes, and more vigilance. The scars left by Priore's actions would not be easy to erase, but the library vowed to ensure that such a breach of trust would never happen again. Despite the losses, the search for stolen items continued, with new leads emerging in unexpected places. A significant breakthrough occurred when a bookseller in New York City, unaware of its origin, realized that a rare map he had recently acquired was actually from the Carnegie Library's collection. The bookseller, upon discovering the book's origin, contacted the library and helped return it to its rightful place. The effort to trace and recover the stolen items became a global effort. In London, another stolen volume, an early edition of Newton's Principia, was returned by a dealer who had unknowingly purchased it from one of the men's accomplices. For each book return, there was a sense of victory, but the damage to the library's collection remained. Some pieces had been permanently destroyed, cut, and sold off in pieces. But in the end, the process of recovering and restoring the library's collection became a symbol of the community's dedication to protecting and preserving its heritage. Scholars from across the world weighed in on the thefts, offering their own reflections on the significance of the stolen books. Some noted that the loss wasn't just financial, it was a loss to the entire academic world. The destruction of these rare works meant that generations of students and researchers would be deprived of these critical resources. To the global community of scholars, the theft was a wound to the academic fabric itself. In interviews and public statements, leading historians expressed dismay at the destruction of the items, but they also highlighted the importance of restoring the library's role as an academic institution dedicated to the preservation of knowledge. The theft of rare books may have been a devastating blow, but it did not define the future of the Carnegie Library. Instead, it sparked a renewed commitment to ensuring that the library's legacy would continue for generations to come. The Pittsburgh community, which had always been proud of the library's role in shaping the region's cultural identity, was devastated by the news. The betrayal of Gregory Priore, a man many had trusted, shattered the sense of safety and security that the library had once provided. However, in the aftermath of the theft, the community rallied behind the library. Fundraisers were held to help support the recovery process, and many local businesses pledged their support to ensure the library could continue its work. Public sentiment about the library and its future began to shift from sorrow to hope. The public outcry, mixed with the determination of the library's staff and supporters, led to a renewed sense of purpose within the institution. The Carnegie Library's future had seemed uncertain for a while, but as the community came together, it became clear that the library was more than just a building. It was a symbol of Pittsburgh's enduring commitment to culture and knowledge. The story of the Carnegie Library heist didn't end with the trial of Priore and Shulman. The recovery of stolen artifacts continued for years, with more volumes being returned, often by collectors who had unknowingly purchased them. The FBI art crime team remained involved in tracking down stolen books, and with the help of the antiquarian book trade, the library managed to recover hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of rare books and manuscripts. Each recovery marked a significant victory, but there was always more to be done. The theft had ripple effects throughout the antiquarian book world. Rare book dealers became much more cautious when it came to provenance, and the events surrounding the Carnegie Library theft became a cautionary tale. Shulman's once respected reputation was in ruins. and the theft left a lasting stain on the industry as a whole. To combat future thefts, many dealers began collaborating more closely with libraries and institutions to ensure the authenticity of rare items being sold. The notion of provenance, the documented history of an object's ownership, became a focal point in the rare book trade. While the world of rare books had always been somewhat secretive, the Carnegie Library theft brought new transparency to the field, with more efforts made to trace the origins of valuable artifacts. Gregory Priore's legacy is one of betrayal, but it is also a legacy of the complex interplay between knowledge, greed, and trust. While he may have stolen invaluable works of history, his crime also spurred a global movement to protect rare books and manuscripts. The lessons learned from his actions led to sweeping changes in security protocols, dealer practices, and institutional oversight. His name will forever be linked to one of the most infamous library heists in American history. But the library that once fell victim to his greed continues to thrive, its commitment to preserving knowledge unwavering, even in the face of betrayal.